Welcome to Layeth The Matt Down. I forgot to stop the recording. I keep fucking up. This mixer. But this time we're actually recording. Sorry about that. So we're going to just repeat all the stuff we just said. So welcome to Layeth The Matt Down. This week we have a guest. His name is Greg Piatonni. He is a friend of Charlie, which means he's a friend of Matt and Layeth The Matt. So, Charlie, you want to introduce your friend? Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so this is Greg Piatonni, also known as Greg Nasty on Twitter. Apparently has an alter gimmick or a gimmick that he can explain about, maybe a kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde syndrome. We can get into that, but it's Greg, is someone I met in high school, I knew in high school, and we've kind of reconnected over a mutual friend and a love of wrestling. So we have a mutual friend named Frank who we both keep in touch with, and then I found out that Greg has been at some of the same local shows that Matt and myself have been to for AAW, and Greg's also been to a Shimmer show as well. So we can get a little bit of the local Chicago scene, things of that nature. But I knew Greg was a fan, and I had to invite him on the podcast, and here he is. So Greg, does that sound accurate?
Yes. Nothing I disagree with. No, yeah, you're not wrong. We actually ran into each other at that NXT taping, which was a fucking shit show logistically.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry for cursing on the podcast.
You can do it. We have the...
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I think that's kind of how we realized, like, oh, shit, you're into wrestling now? And that was a big catalyst.
Right. I think we were always, like, friends. Like, you're a little older than me, so it's not like... We never hung out with each other too much on the weekends, but every time we saw each other, we would say hello. And then we kind of had that aha moment, like, oh shit, you like wrestling? Like, why not talk about it on a weekday night? So here you are. So that's why I kind of had you on.
Yeah, and I'm Mr. Tuesday Night, so you got the right guy.
Tuesday Night Live, SmackDown Live with Greg Piatonni.
Yeah, speaking of SmackDown Live, it's happening right now. Apparently Charlie got a big spoiler that he will not mention on this podcast.
I will not mention it.
Ruin it for me.
You're going to like it though, Matt. You're going to like it.
I'm very excited. Oh man. It's so hard to be a wrestling fan without getting a ton of spoilers. Like Bleacher Report and like the WWE app, they just want to ruin every surprise that you can possibly have.
That's what that was the app. That's what the app. Like I thought it was a notification on my phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I read it right. I like turned away right as I saw like something like as I was reading the text.
Oh yeah, that like denial where you're like, oh, it doesn't actually say that.
Yeah. Try to erase it.
I'm gonna be surprised, but then you're not.
Right.
Oh man. So I have a question for Greg. Greg, how you doing?
Bada boom, I feel like I'm the realest guy in the room right now.
Are there any other men in that room that you're in?
No, I'm talking about like the general podcast universe.
Okay.
So any other podcasters who are recording right now by chance, I'm sorry, but I'm shitting on you.
Damn.
Eat shit, JR.
I like
Might be back once in a while.
Oh god. So Charlie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't know if you noticed, my scenery is a little different. I am actually moved into a new place right now.
Like you're captive?
No, not by any means. I'm enjoying it. It's getting a little dark, and the lighting is not too great in my apartment, my new apartment. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's great. I'm living on the southwest side now of the city, University Village, around that area. And so that area is great, and looking forward to new beginnings, making new friends like Greg Nasty, or rekindling old friendships, I guess you could say. So I'm doing great.
Awesome. And how you doing, Matt? Since no one's gonna ask me.
No.
I'm doing great. Just loving wrestling. There's a lot on. There's too much to watch. So my girlfriend puts up with it all the time. So. It's weird. She watched Battleground with me, and I think she enjoyed it. Did you? She nodded, so that's a positive. she likes it. She won't admit it, but she even said while we were watching that she would like to do it, like actually wrestle. And I was like, hell yeah, we're doing it now. You don't have a choice in this matter. And you wouldn't like tease me about it, right? Because that would be like grounds to break up. Anyway.
Damn. Should we leave? Should we leave, Greg?
Oh shit.
I think she bought me food. So I'm not. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I'm doing. Other than that, I'm just still doing insanity, still working out. I still have to work out after this podcast, so hopefully Sean T won't be too
Timeout?
Sean T, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a timeout. I'm sorry. New to the show.
So anyway, I'm in month 2 of insanity. I've never made it this far, so it's a big deal for me. Getting my endurance is getting up there, and I soon will be as athletic and powerful as Seth Rollins. So yeah.
Something to shoot for.
Yeah. All right. So want to move on to more interview questions for Greg. We're gonna grill you, put you in the hot seat, make you feel bad about yourself.
Already do, baby. Already do. I was born for this shit.
All right. I'll hand it off to Charlie.
So I think we could start with just a general question and that we may have already covered or may not. But so let's hear your story about how everyone's usually got one about how you kind of got back into wrestling, Greg.
For me, it was late 2010, the golden era of wrestling, when we had Wade Barrett leading the Nexus against John Cena. Shit was real. And I basically just turned on Raw randomly one night. I had no idea what was going on. It was my first time really watching wrestling as an adult. And I saw that like I was already viewing it with different eyes because I wasn't like a teenager trying to be cool anymore. It wasn't like, oh, that shit's so fake or anything like that. It was like, let me watch this as like drama, as, something that's like an athletic thing, but that's still drama. And I got into it. But like I wasn't really all in until I realized that a buddy of mine was also like getting back into Raw out of fucking nowhere. Because it's not like that wasn't a hot time or anything. Like it was late 2010 WWE. It was what it was. It wasn't this great thing, but we were watching it and it was like, you know what? I think I'm all in now. And then I started watching Ring of Honor after that because it was like, I really like CM Punk. I want to find out more about him. And then it was, Daniel Bryan, and then it was, watching those guys. So I think then as the years progressed, it just became more and more of a thing.
Would you? So our third host, or excuse me, I'm a special guest always. Matt knows that. Never a host, but permanent special guest. But Jim, who's usually with us on Layeth The Matt Down, I guess you could say 1/3 of Layeth The Matt Down, has said that he lived through that era, or when I say lived through, he watched during, like, because I heard the sarcasm in your voice of the 2010 being not the greatest year for wrestling. It was very PG, right? And and I guess it was like 2010 to probably like 2012 or 13, where it was like really, really dreadful. Would you back up that claim that for like years before kind of this new era started developing, that it was like really, really hard to sit through?
It was different because you also need to remember that unless I'm really fucking up the timeline, I'm pretty sure 2011 was when we got the pipe bomb promo from CM Punk. So there were some interesting things going on, but the booking overall was still really bad. You weren't getting like the kind of caliber of the matches that you are on a given pay-per-view card now. It wasn't like the high work rate indie guys weren't really the top guys yet, apart from CM Punk. So it was a different time. I think we're definitely in a better place now. But since wrestling was kind of new for me again, it was still pretty exciting.
Would you call this the golden age of wrestling? I think, and let me say that I don't think personally. The Attitude Era was a different time, but personally that will always be my favorite era. But would you call this like right now like the golden age in terms of like what they're capable of doing? Like they still got to keep it PG, but are we entering like a really great era of wrestling right now?
I think that depends on if we're talking about specifically WWE or if we're talking about wrestling as a whole. Because I feel like with the internet and with how, like, shout outs to WWE, with how, like, transparent they've been about where they're getting these guys, like, they're not trying to front anymore, like, oh yeah, we discovered AJ Styles, we discovered, Ciampa, like, these guys were, like, nobodies till we brought him in. Like, we found Samoa Joe, sure, he's 78 years old, but we just got him out of developmental. They're not acting like that anymore, like they used to be. Like, it's not like this pride thing of, like, these are our guys. They're telling the world, like, these guys, they had, like, you could have high-profile work on the indies. And, and in Japan, like, they've been vocal about that lately. So I feel like all of that's kind of combining to make good wrestling super visible these days. Like, it's everywhere. Like, the indies are growing. We're maybe reaching, like, critical mass in terms of all the crazy shit that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's, in terms of, like, a good time to be a wrestling fan, I think we have it way better than ever.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that statement. Matt looks like he's chowing down on some. What are you eating there, Matt?
They're like Asian fusion tacos. I'm sorry.
No worries. So I'll just keep talking with Greg then. But no, I think that's a good point, Greg. It's becoming much more mainstream. And I think a lot of it, honestly, is Triple H. And I don't know if, hopefully Vince kind of, and I don't know the day he ever will be, because I know, and he deserves to be in charge. He built this empire, but, like, I would love to see him kind of fade into the background a little bit more and see Triple H a little more prominent. Obviously, Triple H is getting that indie talent because he's putting on NXT, and NXT, like, I feel like NXT could be bigger, but he likes to keep it small because it has that indie feel to it. So I feel like a lot of that and a lot of the WWE, like, showing up in mainstream things such as SportsCenter is like Triple H is doing. So I would agree with that statement. Just, like, overall as a wrestling fan, I feel like it's making a comeback into the mainstream. So, and transitioning then, you touched on Japan. So I wanted to kind of go into, I guess, what you'd say is your favorite promotion thus far, and that's New Japan Pro Wrestling. So yes. I'm booking you, and you know this, as our New Japan expert. So the people need to know. So I guess I want to ask you just some general questions about it, like, what do you like about it? Why is it your favorite? What are some things you're following, like, thus far? I'll just let you talk and go from there.
Okay, starting with what I like about it, I like how self-contained it is, and I mean that in the sense that this is going to sound, like, pretentious and shitty, but the storytelling all really happens in the ring, and that's not to say that's not the case elsewhere. But I think it's really telling that you could watch all these shows that are, with Japanese commentary, though they do have English commentary on some of the bigger shows now, but and just know what's going on. Wins and losses mean a lot. That doesn't mean that people are going to be protected. What it means is that, if a big name can lose, and when he loses, it's building to something. It's not just, this guy lost on TV, but now they're not talking about it. It's this guy lost at a big show, and now maybe he's going to lose to a fucking jobber the next month because, he feels like shit, and then, it's building to, like, this, kind of rebirth thing, I think the quality of the work is mostly unparalleled, but I say that acknowledging that there are a lot of promotions that I don't watch. I'd like to, but you can only watch so much wrestling, and there are so many promotions out there.
Right.
But I mean, if we're big on star ratings, it's one of those things, just kind of look at, like, what the average big New Japan show gets in terms of, like, the amount of legitimate, like, 4+ star matches. I think that really can't be argued against. Big on strong style, which maybe that's problematic for some, because these guys are, clobbering their fucking heads.
Right.
And, putting themselves through more, physical stress than they realistically need to for the short-term enjoyment of a bunch of people like me. But as a selfish wrestling fan, I love to see the strong style stuff. The headbutts kind of gross me out these days, just thinking about Benoit and the like.
Mm-hmm.
But like the stiff strikes are great. The kind of I don't want to say like worked MMA kind of stuff because I think that I don't know if that I wouldn't say that's super accurate, but I think when you take maybe segments of like the strikes and the submissions from MMA and you put it in a in a wrestling ring where like things are planned out, matches are going 20 plus minutes, they're building toward crescendos, and you're getting like some real stiff shit that just kind of adds to it and helps to tell the story of like, oh my god, these guys are literally killing each other trying to get the win. I think that's huge. And right now, what's going on? Should I get into the G1 a little bit?
Yeah, no, I thought that was a great synopsis. So I have like, it sounds like just a lot of the basic things that makes wrestling simple and effective, which is storytelling, wins and losses mattering, which I feel like Vince doesn't care if a heel loses when more times than not a heel should win if you really want to build him to a big main event like a SummerSlam. And then quality of work you touched on too, but they do it in their own way, which is the strong style way.
Yeah, typically, yeah.
Right.
Not always, but.
Yeah, no, that sounds accurate. I don't watch much of it. How is JR calling matches? Have you heard of any of his matches that he's called?
I have not listened to the English commentary for any of the big shows they've had because I've gotten so used to the Japanese commentary that even for like, he did Wrestle Kingdom, he did the last two Wrestle Kingdoms. I know they had English commentary for Dominion, which was the big show last month, but I haven't listened to the English ones. I've just been listening to the Japanese. I've heard JR hits his stride in like the slower like main event, semi-main event matches, and he can't keep up during like the crazy like junior tag matches where it's 3 different teams and like Ricochet's in there and Will Ospreay. Like he can't follow that shit. Yeah. But I heard like for Okada Tanahashi in a big long matches like that, I heard he's really good.
Yeah.
I just can't. Yeah.
He's probably still awesome. He's the best of all time in my opinion, but it would be cool to hear him again in like a different take, on different matches. So but yeah, like go into what's going on. What is this G1 tournament that you speak of?
So it's a big tournament that New Japan's been doing since 1974. It hasn't always been called the G1 though. I think that started in 1991. But when you factor everything in, like Hulk Hogan is a past winner, Andre the Giant is a past winner.
Whoa!
It's a big prestigious tournament, and essentially the winner gets a guaranteed title shot at the next Wrestle Kingdom, which is like the big show. It's cheap to compare it to WrestleMania, but that's the only way I can compare it to something. Mm-hmm. It's the WrestleMania of New Japan. They hold it on the same day every year, January 4th, which I think is a cool little tradition. So like regardless of what day of the week it is, they hold it on January 4th at the Tokyo Dome, and that's the only time they book the Tokyo Dome. So like it's this big, traditional thing. Right. So yeah, the winner of the G1 gets a title shot there. And the G1, like obviously running for as long as it has been, is a prestigious tournament in and of itself. It's always the top guys in the company and the rising stars. Like it's a make or break. Like if you're a mid-card guy and you find yourself in the G1, they're testing you, Yeah. It's like, can you go out every single night and get the crowd behind you? If so, you're not going to win, but you're going to be in a much better position in the company. And it's that simple. And so it's broken up into 2 different blocks, the A block and the B block, each consisting of 10 wrestlers, and they do it round robin style. So everybody in the A block faces each other once. You get 2 points if you win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss. Same thing happens for each block, and then the point leaders for each block face each other at the final. So that's how it works.
Oh, so it's not like just a bracket style tournament.
No, and that's why it lasts so long. Night 10 was the other night of it.
Wow.
So since July 18th, I've probably spent 25 hours watching the G1. And then I watched night one of the Super J Cup. I watched WWE Battleground. I watched the Cruiserweight Classic. I went to an AAW show. That's a lot of fucking wrestling since July 18th. It's reaching a point where it's like, I don't know what's real anymore. It's like reality starts and ends in the squared circle. Nothing outside of the squared circle is real. I feel like I'm just like always gonna like on the verge of cutting a promo on somebody or just hitting him with a fucking rainmaker. Life's weird right now, man. But you do these things because you're gonna watch some good shit, and you feel like you have to if you want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror.
I agree. Like I have not watched one episode yet of the Cruiserweight Challenge, and I feel like a failure. Like what am I doing? What's up?
You said Cruiserweight Challenge.
Classic
mix-up. Classic mix-up. But yeah, so I need to really catch up on that. There's some NXT matches I want to catch up on.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean. Like there's so much wrestling out there. Like every time I say I'm going to an AAW show, like I get the eye roll, from the girlfriend. But it's just like they just keep putting on just it's just insane every single time. And I wasn't even at the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we want to get into that now, or if Matt, if you had some questions for Greg.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say like that show was incredible. It's probably the best wrestling show I've ever been to.
You were at the AEW show?
Yeah, the last
one.
Oh
shit! All right, right on.
Pentagon got tossed over the railing right next to me.
Right.
I have like pictures of Pentagon and Sammy like chopping each other, sitting in chairs, like pointing at each other. It was insane. Also, I want to like talk about some of the chanting over the course of the night. So like since it was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's last matches, Ciampa's like second to last, they decided to have some fun, so they wrestled in slow motion for probably a good like 5 to 10 minutes, and the crowd actually started chanting in slow motion, which was the best thing ever. So literally, as they were going, people were like, "Let's go, Ciampa." Also, there was one guy who kept yelling like middle school insults at the wrestlers. He basically just kept calling people virgins.
Yes.
Cracked me up. Like the first one was what was the guy's name? He goes by the Walking Weapon.
Josh Alexander.
Yeah. So like he was wrestling and people kept chanting "Walking Weapon," and the dude just out of nowhere, he's just like "Walking Virgin." And me and my friend Dan just like cracked up. We were dying. And like over the night, he would like only call certain people virgins. But like he called like Sammy a virgin. I think he may have called ZSJ a virgin. He definitely called Davey Vega a virgin. Like everyone hates Davey Vega.
Yes.
I don't know. Like he's not that bad, but like he's the most hated man in AEW. It's ridiculous. And like I even tweeted at him, it's like, AEW fans really hate Davey Vega, and he just retweeted it. He didn't even respond. He just liked it and retweeted it because he knows it's true. But yeah, that was my take. The best part was the virgin insults. So anyway, I do have a question for you, Greg.
Okay.
How'd you like get into AEW? Because I just found out about it through Charlie. I didn't even know we had like local independent wrestling in like Illinois. It was like complete news to me when we went to our first show.
Yeah.
I want to say I heard about it in 2014 because people were posting about is he Steen or Owens at the time? But yeah, Kevin Owens was involved in an angle there in 2014, and I wasn't at that show, but like I heard about it. So then I started looking into it, and then I went to the next show, which was Windy City Classic, whatever, 2014 Windy City Classic, and then I just kind of kept going to the shows. It was a different promotion back then, but I knew, like, holy shit, indie wrestling is awesome. It's cool to just go to shows and be like, even if you, like, the only people I knew at the first show I went to were Johnny Gargano, Chris Sabin, and Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
But so, like, the rest of the card was just totally new to me. And but I thought it was great, and it's been kind of crazy to see how much AEW's grown since then, really.
Yeah.
Like, Ciampa's first match there wasn't until, like, the next March.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's, like, obviously we haven't been going for a while. Our first show was, what, like 4 or 5 months ago, Charlie?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, like, has it always been, like, bigger guys, like more popular indie guys, or is this, like, a new thing? Like,
I think it started to really blow up last year. Like they would always, for this is, like, from my recollection, they would always book guys who were already pretty well known, but in a shorter quantity. Whereas now you look at a show and, like, half the roster are guys who you could consider, like, legitimate superstars. Whether it's, like, they're huge on the indies or they're guys who have contracts elsewhere. I think that's newer, but you'd always get, like, a few guys, like a couple guys who you knew about.
Okay.
But
like a Kevin Steen or, like, Tyler Black or something.
I think I mean, the show we went to, which was, I can't remember what the name of it, but it was the one where Ciampa and Callahan wrestled not too long ago.
Okay, yeah.
I want to say that at the time that they had their attendance record. Like, they tweeted about something about an attendance record for that show. And maybe that was just for that Bourbon Street location. Or, I don't know, I think they only have a couple venues.
Yeah.
But I want to say, like, it's at its peak in terms
It's
of...
huge right now.
Yeah.
Like, when I started going, when they would run Bourbon Street, it would be half full, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Whereas the last show, as Matt can attest to, it was super standing room only, no vacancy at that last show. So, like, to me, it was mind-blowing that they could even sell out Bourbon Street, let alone, like, extra capacity in advance. So it's definitely that. The September 1st show that's coming up, can I talk about that for a second? Because that's huge.
Yes.
So no one's going to be mad about spoilers anymore.
Well, I feel like we already know the main event, right? Unless you got some other
Yes.
stuff, obviously.
So September 1st, it's a Thursday night, unprecedented. Who runs a show on a Thursday night? You do when it's this fucking main event. Tommaso Ciampa, the Sicilian psychopath, the psycho killer, the great Bambino, the childish Gambino, they call him Lil Wayne, Ciampa, against Pentagon Jr. WWE versus Lucha Underground, Cero Miedo. Sorry.
The Sultan of SWAT.
Oh, man.
Colossus of Clout.
But, so, I mean, that's the main event, and that's all you really need to know, because you're going to go to that show to see that main event.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. They're doing that show at the Berwyn Eagles Club.
Mm-hmm.
Ciampa versus Pentagon Jr. at the Berwyn Eagles Club, which, if you've been there, the capacity is maybe 5.5 people.
It's so small compared
It's
to
the size of a modest living room.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know. We're the second they go on sale, I'm just gonna scoop up like 4 first row tickets, and then Matt, you can pay me because they're gonna go so quick, and yeah, like you said, it's a small venue. We gotta be close, you know.
Yeah. Also about that venue, like, it was kind of scary. Like, dudes were doing like 630 centons off the top rope and, like, scraping their heads on the ceiling. It was
Like AR Fox.
It was not right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. AR Fox is a psychopath.
Yeah.
And I heard him so. But anyway, but yeah, about AEW too. Like, I've noticed, like, it's getting mentioned on, like, podcasts. Like, Ricochet mentioned it on the Steve Austin show. Like, obviously Cole Cabana mentions it. Yeah, it's like it's starting to get, like, some traction and some notoriety.
So yeah, try to get tickets. Those are going to go super fast, though.
Yeah.
And they are announcing more talent for that show. If you'd like for me to name some of the names.
Sure.
These are all like freshly announced. AEW's been tweeting them all night. But Cedric Alexander is confirmed for that show.
Okay.
If you've been watching the Cruiserweight Classic, he's fucking awesome. Chris Hero, Sami Callihan, obviously. The return of Big Mike, Michael Elgin.
That's a Japan guy, right?
Yeah. A Canadian guy, but yeah.
Well, he
currently working in Japan.
Yes, currently working.
So they're already dropping some big names for that, and realistically, they could sell the place out a lot, like just for the main event alone. So.
Yeah.
It's gonna be packed.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to news and rumors.
That works. Because we could literally sit here and talk about AEW all day if we wanted to.
I hope you heard the ring bell that you were talking about.
I didn't hear the ring bell. Do it again. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yes. All right, it's on repeat. All right, so I guess I'll go with my news. It was on SmackDown, so it's not really news, but it's still exciting for me. Shelton Benjamin's going to be returning to SmackDown, which is great because SmackDown has nothing really right now, which is I think it's going to be huge though. Obviously, I wasn't like watching during Shelton Benjamin like during the time when he was popular, but I've watched some like their old matches, especially like the match between him and Shawn Michaels on Raw. I don't know. Have you seen that one? Yeah.
The one with that crazy ending?
Yeah. So I'm excited. Also, in much less exciting news, Rhino is also returning.
So wait, he was running for office in Michigan.
Yep. Yes.
So he's letting go of that?
I can't imagine him like in a suit. It looks insane.
He's giving up the dream?
Huh?
He's giving up the dream?
I don't know. I do remember
shit.
a psychopathic wrestler who gores people through things and also a politician.
Yeah. He's gotten Rhino. I love Rhino, but he's gotten really like his body shape has gotten really blobby, man. Like he
kind of looks like a Twinkie in a singlet.
Okay.
with some hair on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a weird shape. Charlie, you want to move on to your news and rumors?
Yeah, so speaking of political office, I have heard that Kane, once Glenn Jacobs hangs up the boots, that he's going to be running for political office as well in the future. It's something that he's passionate about, strong libertarian, if you will. So personally, like I'm not a huge politics guy. I don't think I ever will be. I think I have enough things I want to learn about and study about, and I just can't even get into politics, and I don't want to, which is fine if people are who are listening. But really, I'm just looking forward to the internet and what the internet is going to do with all of this gold when Kane steps into whatever office that he runs for. What if it's like senator or something? This is just hypothetical, and like the people are like taking pictures and like putting the Kane mask on him, or people are like saying like. When I was following the Gawker case with Hulk Hogan on Twitter, like I was crying at the tweets that people were coming up with like that. So anytime you can compare wrestling and just like put that fantasy world into a real life scenario, like where like Kane choke slamming politicians through tables to get votes or something like that, like that's a world I want to be. I want those memes in my life. So I'm looking forward to it may sound very childish of me, but that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, me too. And I have a prediction that someone's going to bring up Katie Vick.
They have to.
Oh,
There's no fucking way they don't.
Right.
That's going to kill him.
Glenn.
Oh, God. Yeah, all right, you want to move on to your... That was your news?
That could be my news. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed. So rumor is that, and this is a very certain rumor, is that the wild card himself, a man who was on my fantasy team for some time, was Alberto Del Rio. Vince wants his contract is up in September, and so like around after SummerSlam, and Vince wants to push him, and now like on SmackDown, there's room to push him, I guess, but Triple H, I guess, feels that he is which I can definitely see this happening. He's like just very arrogant when he talks to Triple H and just doesn't respect. You got to respect Trips, and he doesn't respect Trips, and so Triple H has kind of, told Vince to cool off on him and not give him a lot of attention or like personal booking treatment. So, I mean, Alberto Del Rio hasn't been used much since Money in the Bank, and I don't think I just think he's a person who wants it his way, and like he thrived when he left WWE. He was doing like awesome work in Lucha Underground. So I honestly don't think he'll be around the company for much longer. I just don't think him and Triple H get along, and he could probably make money working the indies. So, and then obviously him and Paige were split as well. So it's just not good to be ADR right now. I don't know if Greg, do you have any thoughts on that?
I always loved Alberto Del Rio because his entrance music was not generic butt rock. And I found that really refreshing to like have somebody come to the ring in unique music that wasn't, Creed or Nickelback.
Yeah.
That's about all I have to say about Alberto Del Rio.
He's got the mariachi horns.
And it's sick.
It's sick.
So give that music to somebody else, maybe Sheamus, and we're set.
Oh, God. That would be something else. Sheamus come out to mariachi. What if Sheamus' gimmick was that he's like Mexican now, he's replacing Alberto Del Rio?
Or just like general cultural appropriation. Like every time he comes to the ring, he's like, stealing from different cultures.
Yeah.
I think that could go over.
He's culturally confused.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, God.
Give it a try. Throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, right?
Can't hurt.
They made Chavo Guerrero white. Why can't they make Sheamus?
They did make Chavo Guerrero white. It's true.
All right. So, Greg, you want to go into your news and rumors?
I have some sad news. I don't know how out this is, but Lillian Garcia parting ways with the WWE after 15 years of service.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And it's because her dad has cancer. And she's leaving to stay close to home and take care of him. So, close the book on WWE. Sad to see her go. She was a big part of the show for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna tell us about the championship. I know that joke.
It's. I wanted to make a joke too, but like the news of her father being ill, just like.
But she doesn't have cancer, so
No,
I mean, you can
exactly.
make fun of her all you want.
And
And her dad's not listening.
He might be. You don't know.
I hope
that.
he is.
Yeah.
Just because that would be a fling with stardom.
Yeah. I want to do it. I want to do a very loud champion chat, but I'll get in trouble if I do a really loud one. So I don't want to get in trouble.
I really feel like you are being held hostage with the title and you can't yell. And
I know, it kind of does. Like, and it's getting dark. Like, I'm sitting in front of a window, but the sun is going down as a podcast. I don't know if you noticed, but like, I turned up my screen brightness to make myself lighter. Like, this is what it would be like if you can see that. It's very dark. I'm like turning up my screen brightness. I am. Help me, SOS. Send help.
oh, God. Okay, Greg, you have another news item, right?
Do I? Oh, I was going to go over the AEW talent announcements. I think I covered most of the ones that matter to me. Oh, Colt Cabana's on the show, too.
Oh, what
If you're a big Colt fan,
I love
then so yeah, basically just kind of plugging AEW right now.
What about Tommy End?
That is a rumor and basically substantiated by a tweet he made. For those of you who aren't familiar, Tommy End, you guys know Tommy End at least?
I don't.
Okay. I was fortunate enough to see him at AAW in Ciampa's first match at AAW. It was Ciampa versus Tommy End. Which is sick. But anyway, Tommy End, big guy in Europe, wrestles for, he's wrestled in Progress, Revolution Pro.
And then in the States, he's worked for like PWG, CZW, pretty much all the biggest indies. So he's already a well-known guy. And he tweeted something just a few hours ago. It was a T-shirt design that said Tommy End 2002 to 2016. And he was confirmed signed with WWE not last June, but this past June. So I'm taking that T-shirt design to basically mean he's ready to debut. He's putting Tommy End to rest, and he's going to be unveiled like with his new name and new gimmick. So I think we should expect to see Tommy End on probably NXT sometime within the next few weeks. And I think that'll be pretty big. He's a great worker, and a lot of people are going to go for him straight off the bat.
But and they need to restock NXT.
I don't.
You don't think
that's
so?
That's kind of going into the question that I have.
Okay.
Which we can hold off on that for now.
Okay, save that. Oh no, wait, that's next. So Matt, do you want to lead us into that?
And it's time for the Triple Threat recap. I love it.
Ring the bell.
So, since we're already talking about it, Greg, you want to ask your question first?
Well, yeah, because I guess I feel the exact opposite of you. Because I think that there's a roster depth problem with NXT, and I think that's it. They have too many guys who are ready to go right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with NXT being once a week, 1 hour show, they're already sitting these guys on the shelf who should be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, because you look at it, I know they went by TMDK in Japan, but I think they're TM16 here.
61, I think.
61, okay. I mean, those guys are incredible, but like they're not on every week. Ciampa and Gargano are going to be exclusive to NXT soon. Are they going to be on every week? Where do you fit in, like Biff Busick? All these guys who are going to be like starting with WWE in earnest after the Cruiserweight Classic. What do you do with all these guys? They just signed Kota Ibushi. They just signed Roderick Strong, like one of the faces of I can't fucking talk. One of the faces of Ring of Honor for the past like 15 years. They're signing all these guys who are known commodities, like these wrestlers who have established themselves, and I think that's fucking great. I think it's awesome that these guys are going to be able to work in a company where they can provide for their families and have financial security. But what happens when they're just left sitting on the shelf?
Right. See, I didn't know. I guess there's the problem there, because you knew. I mean, I knew Ciampa and Gargano, but I had no clue that TM61 was a great team.
Okay.
But you do. So, and that's probably partially because I don't watch NXT as frequently, but it also because you're like you said, it's an hour show. So like these guys might be great on the indies, but to establish them as their NXT gimmick or their new persona is not enough time. So,
Yeah.
But I don't even think like WWE cares, to be honest. It's like I think they're seeing it as like survival of the fittest. Honestly, like we have the money to buy everyone. We're gonna buy everyone, and the people who wanna not be here for whatever reasons, they can go kick rocks. Like Alberto Del Rio, you wanna be here? You're gone. We're gonna refill. We're gonna bring Nakamura up from NXT, and then we're just gonna replace him. So, and it's not a bad strategy, to be honest. If they got the bankrolls, then why not like have a monopoly on talent, which is what it's turning into. I mean, I don't see any reason why Vince wouldn't. I just picture him laughing in the background while all this is going on.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they have all this like talent at NXT and they're bringing up people like Mojo Rawley. I have a theory is that it's because Mojo Rawley's friends with Gronk. They want him to bring Gronk in when he retires. That's just a made-up theory. That's based on no facts.
He could be at the next WrestleMania, Gronk. I dropped my pencil.
Oh, yeah. He was at
I think we see Gronk regardless.
Yeah.
Like in the near future. He's such a ham, he has to end up in WWE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Charlie, you want to ask your question?
Right. So my question is just geared towards SummerSlam. So someone tweeted this out, and I feel like it's true. It's true. It's damn true. That the SummerSlam card right now has really just a mix of like interchangeable matches that could be main events. And like all the matches are really good, to be honest, right now. Like the last 3 that we could possibly see have the potential to steal the show, if you will. So out of the 3 that I guess you could say Zayn, Rollins, Ziggler and Dean, and then Lesnar and Orton. Like if you had to see, what's up?
Finn and Rollins.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I said, but yeah, Finn and Rollins. So I said Zayn, yes. So out of those 3, which one, if you had to choose only one to see, like which one would you choose to see as the main event for SummerSlam? If you just had to choose one.
Well, I think that's pretty easy. The Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, but I'm obviously the biggest Seth Rollins fan in the world, and pretty big Finn fan, and not the biggest Dean or Randy or Brock fan.
Greg, what did you say?
I'm kind of in the same boat, but more because I'm a Finn Balor guy. Really excited to see what he's going to do on the main roster, in the limelight, the Demon. I think it's going to be good. I'm excited. I don't normally get excited for things. Not an excitable guy, but that excites me, so I'm looking forward to it. You should look forward to it too, America and international listeners. I don't know where you're coming from.
Oh, God. How about
From
you?
Ireland? No, I would say the same.
There you go.
I would say the same, and I think this question was a lot better the first time I thought of it. But to be honest, there are some people I probably know that probably want to see Lesnar or Orton. So and it's just, I think it just speaks to the quality of the singles matches that we're going to see come SummerSlam, unless they do anything with Bray to insert him into maybe like a triple threat scenario or anything like that. So.
Also, you left out Sasha and Charlotte.
I did leave out Sasha and Charlotte. Yeah, I mean that would be pretty cool. They should probably do that like second to last. I wouldn't mind seeing that match.
I have a feeling it's going to be a show stealer.
Right. Do you want to go into your question then? Because that's a good segue.
Yeah. So, do you think the WWE blew their wad when giving Sasha the belt on Raw instead of waiting for SummerSlam?
Greg, start.
Quick answer, yes. Not a fan of title changes on TV. Should be pay-per-views.
Charlie?
I think they should have waited, but I'm not mad about it. Like I'm okay with title changes on Raw because I think it adds to the unpredictability of some. Just like make them few and far between, if anything. Because I think a lot of people saw that as just like the result of Dana Brooke getting involved, and then like it's a squash and it ends on a DQ, and then like that's what like a lot of people probably thought, and then a lot of people were probably shocked. I think it's like it doesn't have the same factor as like a Finn Balor dropping the NXT title to Samoa Joe at a house show. Like it doesn't have that amount of wow or surprise, but I think it has a good enough amount of wow surprise that they should keep doing it. Just very infrequently. But I would, so I'm not mad about it, but I would have liked to see Sasha win it at SummerSlam. I mean, it just makes sense, like at a huge pay-per-view, to see the top babyface go over like that. That has been the recipe since day one, and I don't think that recipe will like ever change in a certain sense. To see a top babyface go over at a huge pay-per-view for the belt, that just makes sense to me. So I guess yeah, I would have personally waited if I was in the driver's seat, but I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. All right. So I agree with you, Charlie. It's like I wasn't mad about it, but I feel like they really could have waited. It would have made sense to wait, but I mean, it adds to unpredictability. It's like Mankind winning on Raw. Yes, obviously it's not that big, but still.
Right.
So wanna go into next we're gonna have to gear up, but we're kind of running low on time, so I'll wait to rant about ring gear until next podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna go into the fantasy recap.
Nice.
Happy every time. I do it.
So Greg, to give you a little background, as I can't hold on to my pencil, I keep dropping it. But
You don't need it.
to give you a little bit of background, so we're using a website called www.dropthebelt.com, and it's a fantasy wrestling league. So I see you perk up a little bit, and it's hosted by admins, like they update all the score and everything, and they charge like $10 a season. So we split that between how many guys do we have in our league? Matt, 8, and
Yes.
we all pitched in for a replica Intercontinental title belt as the prize. White leather, the one that the Miz has right now.
The pretty one, yeah.
The pretty one, yeah. So, and that's our prize right now. So, we like to do fantasy updates and just like tell the viewers about how our teams are doing. So, my team started off really hot, and then we have someone on our team in our league named Thomas who has Dean Ambrose, and Dean Ambrose scored an insane amount of points at Money in the Bank. Because he won the briefcase and then won the belt,
Yeah.
and he's been like defending the belt and just winning like nonstop ever since. And I think he has Cesaro on his team who wins a lot too. So I'm like struggling to catch him. And then actually my team has cooled off a little bit now, and Jim, who is 1/3 of Layeth The Matt Down, is in second place now because he has Rusev, and he drafted Finn Balor, which was like an investment pick. Now Finn came back. So his team is hot right now. My team's on the low. I have like KO, Carl Anderson, Becky Lynch, Kofi, who you think would just be scoring hella points, but they're not always involved in matches and they don't always win a lot. So that matters in the scoring. And then like I just picked up like Chad Gable, Alexa Bliss, and things of that nature when all those new people come up. But Matt, do you want to talk about your team and kind of how your season's been going?
Yeah, I was in last place most of the year. But now I'm in 5th place thanks to, my number 1 pick was Charlotte, and she was obviously a champion, so she was giving me like a few points, but then like the big title change actually helped me because I also have Sasha Banks. Like now I'm actually in 5th place. All I'm worried about is not coming in last because the last place person has to take a finisher. So that's all I care about. I know I'm not going to win. I am at 755 points. The first place person has 1,331. Dean Ambrose almost has as many points as I have. So not for me. But it's fun. And I'm not going to take a finisher, hopefully.
Yeah, so the last place person has to take a finisher, like it has to be recorded, and it's a finisher of the winner's choice. So that's going to be interesting. And also we had a live draft at the Squared Circle, the bar in Chicago. So it's something that we want to continue doing. The season ends at SummerSlam. And I don't know if you have any interest in it, but and it's still decided if we're going to keep the number at 8 or if we're going to add more people. But other people might drop in the next season too. But I don't know if that's something. If you're interested, maybe we can have a future conversation about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Also, I want to make fun of our friend Pat for being in last place. So his number 1 pick was AJ Styles. He also has Chris Jericho, and that is the only sane person on his team. The rest of his team is Goldust, Devon Dudley, Paige, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Sin Cara.
Shit. Wow.
So Pat hasn't been keeping up with the league, as you can see, because obviously he has had multiple opportunities and has opportunities now to drop a Sin Cara for like someone else.
And how is Goldust number 3 on your team?
His team got some fat asses.
Oh, God. Although I think Goldust would have been able to beat the Shining Stars had R-Truth not been playing Pokemon Go last night. I don't know if you got it.
I didn't see that, but I heard about it, and it's probably so stupid.
Yeah. All right. So, want to move on to the game? Right?
Yeah. The game segment. Where's my pencil? Okay, so I need a pencil, but it's fine. So for the game, we're going to do in a game surrounding excuse me, I'm flustered because I don't have my pencil. I need my pencil. I don't have anything to write down the score. Someone keep a tally. It's called Infamous Gimmick, I guess. It doesn't have a name, but we're going to go back and forth, and I'm going to give you an infamous old gimmick that a wrestler once had and once was his ring name, once was called by, and you're going to tell me who that wrestler is by his, obviously popular gimmick. So we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to ask him, say Matt first, and if he doesn't know, then I'm going to pass it off to Greg for the opportunity to steal. But don't buzz in until I say, okay, now you can steal. And we're going to do first to three. Does that sound?
Got it.
Okay, guys?
Yep.
All right. So Matt, I'm going to let you choose. Do you want to go first, or do you want Greg to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. Matt. So this wrestler used to go by Oz.
Oz. Shit. I've heard that name before. God damn it. I don't know.
Greg, you can steal.
Can I ask a question or?
You can't ask a question.
All right, fuck. Oz. Wait, can I ask a general question? Do they have to be active wrestlers?
No.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Oz. I'm. Sorry, I froze. Not in the sense that my webcam froze, but I did. Shit. Eddie Guerrero, the Great Oz.
No, it was not Eddie Guerrero. Matt, do you at least have a guess? At least say someone.
I don't know.
Say someone.
I'm bad again. Scott Steiner.
No, it was not Scott Steiner. That's not a bad guess either. It was Kevin Nash. It was Oz. He had a ton of terrible WCW gimmicks, and this was one of them.
I remember that, before you became Big Daddy Cool.
Yes. All right. Greg, this one is to you first. Your infamous gimmick wrestler is Terra Rising.
So easy.
No, this one's going to kill me.
Terra Rising.
Stone Cold?
It is not Stone Cold, Matt.
Triple H.
Triple H
Oh,
was
man.
terrorizing in WCW. I just recently watched the Click Rules DVD, and I have it at my place. And they said that Scott Hall and Nash said that they found out about Triple H by watching or what was current at the time, WCW, and that one of their favorite guys was Terra Rising, and it was a blonde, bleach-haired Triple H. Wrestling for WCW on Shotgun Saturday Night, their C show.
I actually watched him and the Road Dogg wrestling long before they had their current gimmicks. It was pretty ridiculous.
That's crazy.
A country singer.
That sounds right. All right, so Matt's up 1-0. First to three. Matt, this one's to you.
Okay.
Bruiser Mastino. Bruiser Mastino is the gimmick.
Such a bad name.
It's such a bad. Mastino is so just doesn't work.
Hulk Hogan?
Not Hulk Hogan. Greg, you want to steal?
Going along with the Click, I'm gonna go with Razor Ramon.
It was not Scott Hall. It was actually Kane.
Oh.
Glenn Jacobs, the future senator.
Not the most famous awful Kane gimmick.
Not the most famous awful Kane gimmick, but maybe not the last.
Yeah. He has a lot of awful gimmicks.
All right. Next, Greg, is Blade Runner Rock.
Are
Did you hear me?
Yes. unfortunately.
Blade Runner Rock.
All right, it's definitely not Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So I'm Blade Runner Rock.
So the Blade Runners were very old tag team.
All right. Marty Jannetty.
No, it's not Marty Jannetty. It's not
All
a
right.
bad guess. These are. I guess I made these a little too hard, but Matt, what do you think?
I cut out. What was the question?
The gimmick is Blade Runner Rock, and Greg said Marty Jannetty. It's not Marty Jannetty.
Sounds like a riff off of the Road Warriors. Gotta go with. I have no idea.
You got say someone. Just say anyone. You might get it.
Scott Hall?
Not Scott Hall. So that's actually the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig.
Shit! Wow.
And it's infamous because his tag team partner, who is on this list as well, was also a Blade Runner, and they shared similar qualities, and they both became very famous. So we'll continue. So that one was to Greg to start. So this one is to Matt. Matt, your infamous gimmick is the Christmas creature.
That's Kane.
That's Kane. I wanted to put two Kane ones on here to kind of throw people off.
But not Isaac Yankem.
Not Isaac Yankem. So I apologize that one was a layup. So sorry, Greg. But it looks like Matt is leading 2-0. Matt, you might get off the schneid here.
Oh, yes, finally.
All right, Greg, this one's to you. You ready?
Yep.
Your infamous gimmick is Leaf Cassidy.
Oh no.
Leaf Cassidy.
Kerry Von Erich?
No. Matt, do you know?
Al Snow.
Al Snow.
Oh, my God.
For the win and the sweep. Al Snow.
Finally got one.
All right, Matt. Are you ready for the hot tag?
1 second. I want to play something real quick.
You know, Greg, when you first get into a promotion, you might have to do a little jobbing at first, and I think you did a job, you know.
People, the listeners should know this is worked. This is a work.
This is not a work.
It's a work, guys. I'm sorry for exposing the podcast business, but this has all been a work.
Okay. Okay. We'll leave that up as a
Turn
myth.
it into a fucking shoot.
All right.
I'm
I'm ready for the hot tag.
Are you ready? Here it comes.
All right. So for my rant this week, I just want to talk about how I had a thought about how like it's kind of ridiculous that like Donald Trump is like gonna be president. I don't mean to get all political, but I was thinking about it when I was walking home, and like if you think about it, Donald Trump is really just like an amazing heel, and I was like, who's like the best heel of all time? Ric Flair, and like you look at him, orange tan, white hair, like yelling nonsense all the time, bragging about being rich. Like they're like the exact same person. And like, yes, this is a comedy bit I'm working on, and I just decided to practice it on the podcast. But it's like an amazing like comparison. Like Ric Flair insults people's wives, Donald Trump does. Like Ric Flair brags about his like shoes being more expensive than everyone else's. Donald Trump complains or talks about his ties being like made so well that he sells in Marshalls, and like I don't know.
I see the similarities. I see the similarities.
Yes. So yeah, I'm gonna flesh that out though. But I'm glad I found it. I wasn't even prepared to give a hot tag because I never win.
Greg, for saving grace, do you know who Mean Mark Callis is?
I know it.
Greg, are you there?
Is it Kane?
It's not Kane.
Damn it.
Kane is not on here 3 times. Do you know what it is, Matt?
Undertaker.
It's
Shit,
the
I was going to
Undertaker.
say that. God damn it.
You were very close.
It's all right, man. Maybe next time. Maybe next
Those
time.
damn Brothers of Destruction.
Oh god.
All right. Well, Greg, I think this is the end. And before Matt closes us out, I want to give you the floor for any shameless plugs and goodbyes that you want to say.
Follow me on Twitter at Greg Nasty. Sometimes I tweet, sometimes I don't. Fucking deal with it. Be aware that the Vader versus Will Ospreay match is a thing that's happening, and it's happening this month. So get on it if you haven't been.
Wait, where?
In either Progress or Revolution, one of the 2 big UK promotions.
Nice.
But that match is happening. They shot themselves into a work, as they say. And what else? I mean, I've never had the floor before, so I'm kind of just taking it all in.
Like, someone else said this, but Vader's kind of a hypocrite because like he was like talking about how that match was all flips, but like his like main gimmick was that he was a big guy who did a moonsault.
Yes, definitely. And have you guys seen the famous Vader post-match interview from when he was working in WWF back in the day?
I don't think so. Would you like to
Okay.
send it to me?
It's been taken off YouTube. Can I just reenact it?
Yes, please do.
Okay, it happens so fast. He loses to Kane. This is when Kane was like fucking unbeatable, you know, like original Kane with the goofy ass hair and shit. So he loses to Kane. He's walking down the ramp. Somebody goes, Vader, tell us your thoughts on this loss. Vader goes, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I trained. Look at me, I'm so big. But I ain't nothing but a big piece of shit. A big fat piece of shit. Storms off. End scene. That's how you win a fucking podcast.
So was he saying there that he wishes he would have been more nimble and quick?
I think he's saying that, like, for everything he did, everything he worked for, at the end of the day, he still saw himself as, quote unquote, a big fat piece of shit. And then it cuts to JR apologizing for the language. It's incredible.
JR's always got to apologize for someone doing something stupid.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me, all.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll have you back sometime.
Please.
Yes. All right. Good episode, guys. So I just want to plug my shit. So if you're in Chicago on September 3rd, come to a stand-up comedy show. It's free. It's at the Atlantic Bar and Grill. That is September 3rd. Come watch me do stand-up, and some of my friends do stand-up as well. Charlie's not coming because he's out of town like a jerk off.
I'm always out of town. Why am I always out of town? I don't know.
I don't. But anyway, yeah, so come to that. Follow at Fat Reed on Twitter. Oh God. I just got a Snapchat. If you wanna add me on that, you can find my, I don't know, DM me if you want to know my stats.
Slide in.
Yeah, slide in. Follow at Layeth The Matt on Twitter. Like at Layeth The Matt Down or something on Facebook.
We're on iTunes.
Yep. Subscribe on iTunes. Follow at Chuck Colorado.
Chuck _.
Chuck _Colorado. Follow JM3 Welsh or whatever the fuck his Twitter name is. It doesn't matter. He doesn't.
We're in your house.
Yeah.
We're in your house.
All right. So, thanks for listening, and always keep it tight. Just kidding. Have a good one. Bye.
You're looking at the real deal now. Gonna kick your sorry ass out on the street. Say what you got. You used to think you own the street. We're back to back.